What's going on, guys? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today I just wanted to show off my Super NT. Now, I've had it for a few weeks. I've used it every single night out in my living room. I'm actually really in love with this unit. So a lot of people might think it's overpriced, and yeah, in my opinion, I think it's a little overpriced, especially them charging an extra $30 on top of it for shipping. But if you have the money, it's definitely worth picking one of these up. Even if you don't own a lot of carts, you can still install the jailbreak and play your games from an SD card. They've done 2 pre-order rounds here, and the first one I was actually able to get in, but my bank declined charges at the last minute, so I wasn't able to pick one up until the second round, and then it took them 11 days to ship it to me. I've used this every single night since I've got it. Out in my living room, I've put hours and hours on this thing, and I haven't had any issues. My only gripe is that shipping. They shipped it from Las Vegas to North Carolina, and it took 11 days. It was kind of ridiculous. Now, I know it wasn't their fault. UPS is partly to blame, but they charged $30 for the slowest shipping that UPS offers. It also doesn't come with a controller, so you will have to buy a controller if you don't have any original wired SNES controllers. I love 8BitO, so I went ahead, bought another one of these. I actually own 2 of them, but they're the 2.4 gigahertz model for the mini SNES. The Super NT does come preloaded with 2 games, Super Turrican Director's Cut and Super Turrican 2. You also get a box for Super Turrican Director's Cut. You don't get a cartridge or anything like that because it's preloaded on the unit, but you do get this to display in your collection. I have tested a lot of aftermarket carts with this, some original carts and some repros I made, and everything just works. It's a pretty awesome little unit, and in my opinion, it is well worth it if you can afford it. If you're not going to break the bank, this is something you might want to think about getting. I'm going to go ahead and boot this thing up. I want to show you guys what it can do. I'm not going to take too long on it because there are a million other videos on the Super NT that you can watch on YouTube if you're really interested. Let's move over now. Got my Elgato HD60 hooked up. We're going to capture some gameplay. Alright guys, so here's the main menu of the Super NT. Now I know you've probably watched 100 videos on this. I just wanted to go over why you should get one and why I love it so much. There is a jailbreak available. I can browse my SD card and play my games from here. Have it set up in the SD to SNES format here. Got a lot of games to choose from. Now I know I could use RetroPie for this, but I love the Super Nintendo. This was my main system when I was younger. I remember the NES. I had an NES. I remember playing the heck out of it, but most of my great memories come from SNES. It does come preloaded with Super Turrican Director's Cut and Super Turrican 2, which are really great games. The new tools in the new jailbreak, we got cheat codes. This was in 4.4 on the original Super NT firmware, and we also have Copy SNES. We can put a cartridge in here and copy it. I do have Killer Instinct already in the cartridge slot. It's telling me this is Killer Instinct. It's a 4 megabyte ROM. RAM OK, chip none, map high ROM. I can go ahead and copy this to my SD card, rip my cart right here on the Super NT. I think this is really awesome. We're going to back up. There's a lot of settings in here. We do have video options, resolution, 480p by 60 Hz, 720 60 Hz, 1080 60 Hz, 576 50 Hz, 720 50 Hz, 1080 50 Hz. Now the scan lines do look a lot better at 720, and you're really not going to degrade your picture because these are old pixelated SNES games. I've been mainly running it at 1080p 60 Hz. It looks great. Sound is dead on with this system. This is emulation, but it's not your typical emulation. This is hardware emulation. It's using a field programmable gate array, an FPGA. Screen size, 1x1, 8x7, 4x3, 4x3. We can go 4x height, 4.5x height, 5x height. Scalars, HQ2X, HQ3X, HQ4X, scale 2X. I mean, there are so many settings in here. It's pretty amazing. We can also turn advanced mode on. Now, one thing I actually really do like about this is the menu. I know it's super simple, but we can customize it a little bit. System, menu options, skin. I like the Super Famicom style. Gives me a little color here. Font, uppercase only is set on. I'm going to turn that off. Menu bounce, dim game and menu. I want to turn that off. Prompt when saving RAM, save warning message. Highlight color. I got mine set to red, it's just easier for me to see. And highlight style. We can go swipe, flash, or rolling. I actually like that rolling, as you can see. It looks pretty cool. So I'm going to run this cartridge. It is Killer Instinct. This is the original SNES Killer Instinct with a black cart. We're going to load it up. It loads up pretty quick, as you can see. It reads that ROM really fast. Oh yeah, and you can also change the light on the Super NT to do different things. I have mine going in kind of a rainbow style. You can leave it solid or change it to a certain color also. Just go with Jago. I'm going to go through some of these settings real quick just so we can see how it looks. Oh, and if I pause this game, I forget. The characters go away. Shoot. Alright, well, I'm going to let him beat me up while I go into these settings. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of time here. Video. Scalers. HQ2X. HQ3X. HQ4X. I know it's kind of hard to see here from the game capture, but looking at it on my 42-inch 4K television, it looks freaking amazing. We also have scan lines. If you want to change your scan lines, no scan lines, normal scan lines. We'll go with normal, and I think they look great. There's also hybrid, and you can change the depth. So I'll go with normal. I'm going to back out of here, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to play a little bit with these scan lines on. I don't have a scaler on right now, just scan lines, and it's at 1080p, 60 Hz. It's really hard to get a feel for this thing from watching a YouTube video. I am capturing this with an Elgato HD60S. It looks pretty decent on screen after I upload it to YouTube, but it doesn't do it justice. If you're sitting there in front of your TV with this thing running, I mean, it looks amazing compared to an old composite SNES. I'm going to start a game from my SD card. Now I got a lot to choose from here. I'm just going to try to find something. Now, it does take a lot of time to scroll through all of these. Hopefully, I do have the game I was looking for. Hagani, The Final Conflict. Now, this is a game I actually made a repro of because I cannot get a copy. I just can't afford a copy of this, like an original. Now, in order for me to get a steady frame rate out of my PC running this game with some scalers on, I have to use Hygen, and I have to have a 4 GHz CPU, or 3.9, in order to get pretty much perfect emulation out of my PC. This FPGA just does it out of the box, and I know it's an expensive unit, but in my opinion, this thing is so worth the price. My only gripe about it, like I mentioned, was the shipping cost and how long it took them to get it to me. So if you've been on the fence about getting the Super NT, I can definitely recommend it. If you have the money to buy something like this, it's definitely worth it. If you're happy with the emulation on your Raspberry Pi, that's totally fine. I actually can deal with playing on a Raspberry Pi 3, no problem at all. There are some games I notice a little bit of lag and input lag with. This totally alleviates any of those problems that I have. If you don't have any original carts, you can still run all your games from an SD card using the Super NT. You just need to install the jailbreak. It's really easy to install. All you need is an SD card and the jailbreak.bin. Go ahead, throw it on the SD card, plug it into the Super NT, turn the NT on, let it sit for a little while. When the LED's done flashing, the jailbreak's installed. Jailbreak firmware is usually updated within a day of Analog releasing its official firmware, so you don't have to worry about that. If there's any new features in the official firmware, it will come to the jailbreak eventually. If you've been collecting SNES carts and you got a bunch of them, this is an awesome way to play them on your HD television without having to buy or use any converters for an original SNES. The HDMI output looks beautiful. I've been running this on a 55-inch 4K television with 4K upscaling, and it just looks amazing to be on a big screen. You can also add those scan lines in or scalers to make it look like the original SNES. Now, you'll never get the exact look of an original CRT TV, but this is really close with those scan lines. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. I do not regret paying this much for the Super NT. It's actually made me want to go out and collect more carts, so I've been looking at my local thrift shops, pawn shops, flea markets, and I've come across some good stuff. There's a lot of games out there that I really want to buy, but I'm not going to fork out $100 to $500 per cart depending on what I want to buy. So lately I've been making a lot of repros for my personal collection. I don't mind that they're repros as long as I got a cart in my hand. And I've done a few videos on that. There's a few different ways to go about it, but the way I really like to make them is buying new PCBs from Murimasa. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in that. Also leave a link to that video. It's super easy, but you will need some supplies before you get started. If you guys could, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Like always, thanks for watching.